Another BBC presenter is going to be exposed on this channel as an anti-Brexit leftist who is now openly promoting his bias as facts. Now, this is not really about saying that those who work at the BBC or any news channel don't have biases, don't have political leanings. This is simply to use it as an example of what sort of people work in the BBC. So he hasn't really broken any laws, but it's about the fact that we keep seeing left, right and centre BBC staff, BBC producers and presenters being more left-wing these days than either actually centrists or right-wing or anything like that. This is about Jonty Bloom. Now, Jonty Bloom has an experience with the BBC. He's now also doing freelance journalism on the side and public speaking and media consulting and everything else. But Jonty, when you look at his CV, he was his BBC business correspondence and of course other areas. He's been focusing on Europe correspondence, so he likes to think he knows a little bit about the European Union. All right, what's he actually done now? Let's talk about his latest article. Jonty Bloom was written for the New European. Oh dear, the New European as a publication is essentially a sort of like League 2 version of The Guardian, and I'm not really sure how many people actually read it, but I had to read it, unfortunately, so that you guys don't have to. Let's have a look at the title. Kemi Badenoch is wasting everyone's time and money with this ludicrous survey and on post-Brexit trade deals. The government's gaslighting goes on in a desperate search for good news. Now, I'm not a fan of this government. They made a mess of everything, including Brexit Britain. But it's interesting there to see more people coming out of the BBC being anti-Brexit. I mean, why is it that we can't expose BBC staff for being pro-Brexit? I mean, I'm not even asking for neutrality. So, what are the pro-Brexiteers in the BBC? So, he's written this article. The whole point of this is how they do propaganda at The Guardian, The New European, all these publications. Opinion pieces are sold to us as factual. And it's very subtle and it's very dangerous. So, regardless of your views on Brexit, some might be pro, some might be against. This is quite interesting because it says, I must admit that I had no idea that the British government was wasting its money this way. But apparently it is now into its 6th survey of public attitude to free trade agreements. So you should have known. If I knew, you should have known. And also, why do you sound surprised that the government been wasting people's money? Of course the government wastes people's money. You guys want it to happen. You guys actually were in favor of the European Union, people like Bloom, who waste people's money on a literally daily basis. But no, apparently it's fine when faceless bureaucrats do it. But no, elected governments can't waste money. He says, in reality, it is a complete waste of taxpayers' money designed to make the government look good. Look like it's following the will of the British people to sign FTAs. In fact, it will negotiate and sign them anyway because it has no choice but try to look as if it has found some upside to Brexit. So I was reading that. I was like, okay, so far he's just talking about this is just a waste of taxpayers' money to do surveys and everything else. He's not really attacking Brexit. And then he did. I mean, for a lot of people, the intelligentsia and all the middle classes in London, they would read that and they would read it as some sort of very impartial, very analytical piece, which is based on facts. Okay, I mean, yes, it is a fact that the government is wasting money, but saying Brexit has upsides or downsides, for that matter, that's an opinion. It's subjective. You cannot pretend that it's objective. But that's what they do. I mean, look at the situation in the European Union. From Spain, Germany to Portugal, all 20 Eurozone countries have now sunk into recession. Brexit Britain hasn't, but the Eurozone is in recession. All the countries, the Netherlands went into recession the other day as well. Germany is in a mess. And you're telling us that every area is now terrible because of Brexit. First, Brexit as a word is essentially just leaving the European Union. What you're criticizing is Brexit Britain, is the government. The whole point of leaving the EU was, it's the start. That means you as a country, as a so-called independent and sovereign country, and don't get me started with how Brexit was done because we're still tied to EU laws, but let's pretend that we have done Brexit properly. The whole point of it is, it's now up to the country and the people we elect, unfortunately, our government, to do a good job or bad job. So Brexit Britain could be good, could be bad, depending on what sort of government we elect. It's nothing to do with the word Brexit. It's just called independent Britain. You could have a terrible country, or you could have a very good country. You could be isolationist, you could be globalist. You could choose. That's the whole point. So you're not attacking Brexit. Brexit was the process of leaving the European Union. You're attacking the government and the mess they made, of the opportunities that they have missed. That's the reality. Anyway, we got Patrick O'Flynn who reacted to this new European article saying, "Oh my goodness, it turns out that the former BBC business correspondent Jonty Bloom has revealed himself to be an anti-Brexit ideologue now that he has left the corporation. I never saw that coming. You could knock me down with a feather." Yes, because the European Movement UK Twitter account promoted this, saying, "This Brexit circus needs closing down. It has completely failed." Oh dear. All right. We have Tony responding to it saying, "A bowel movement from the European movement." Absolutely agree with Tony here. And we have Joe saying, "The European Movement UK, whatever that is, needs closing down. It has completely failed." This is how you fight back on social media. There are some people on the political left and the liberal left who try to have intellectual and academic debates on Twitter. I'm like, just get a life. That's not the place for it. It's literally, you cannot have a productive debate on social media platforms, including Twitter or X or whatever it's called today or this week. But if you want to have a debate with me, you can debate me in person. How many times I've invited people like Owen Jones and others to debate me? They just run away. The guys blocked me on Twitter. So that's where we are. Anyway, we have so many other news stories for you guys throughout the day. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Mahyar Tousi, and we are the media.